Hey everybody, Fred and Minnick here, and I wish I didn't have to keep coming back and doing these auction previews. But as you know, the Kentucky Distillers Association, Bourbon Crusaders, Westport Whiskey and Wine, and my team have been putting together the Kentucky Bourbon Benefit. We did this for the Western Kentucky tornado victims. We raised $3.4 million then. We're trying to do that now for the Eastern Kentucky flood victims. If you've seen the footage, you've seen the TV shows or the TV news broadcasting, just the massive amounts of water just drenching Eastern Kentucky. People have lost their homes, their loved ones, family members, pets. They've lost so much. And, you know, bourbon, as it often does, stepping up and helping the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And what I've been trying to do is kind of provide a little preview of this auction. You will find a link in the description for the auction. Please go bid as much as you can on stuff. But today we are going to preview some of the items from Wild Turkey. And joining me is the one, the only master distiller from Wild Turkey, the great Eddie Russell. How you doing, sir? It's good to see you.
How are you, Fred? Hello, everybody.
I wish we didn't have to keep, doing this, but as often is the case, the bourbon community steps up.
Yeah, I mean, our community's always been very close-knit. Things like this just seem to be natural for us. You know, Campari's been very good about it. We fed first responders in Houston for the floods, firefighters in California, so definitely want to do something for our home state. Campari's already donated $50,000
Wow.
to the charity. And then with us, we have several neat things. Some of the same things we did, which is a private barrel experience, which is great fun. You'll be with me
Hmm.
and Bruce in the warehouse picking barrels, and then some of our better products signed by the one and only Jimmy Russell.
Yeah, that's your pops, and I know that there's such a tight relationship there, but he is when people close their eyes and think of Kentucky, they think of your dad. Jimmy embodies what this state is all about, which is community and helping one another. And you're the same person, just you like rye a little bit better.
That's right. You got to be a little bit different.
That's right. So let's go ahead and jump into the items here. I want to preview some of these. Now, these are going to be things that you all would have donated, but also collectors would have donated. And one of the things that catches my eye, it was my whiskey of the year last year, and that's this one right here. This 13-year Russell's Reserve pick. Or this 13-year Russell's Reserve, that thing was just so good. You have to love that that whiskey. Where does this 13-year rank in your favorite selections of coming out of Wild Turkey over the years?
Well, for me, definitely, it's in the top two or three. The 13-year, it was actually sort of something we were actually adding a little bit to our 10-year-old Russell 90 proof, and just thought, why are we doing this? We got this great product. Everybody's looking for those very rare small batches, so we decided to go with it. And it hits all the classic notes that I've always looked for. I think Jimmy's a little bit different. He likes something that's a little more smacky in the face. I just think with this 13-year-old at barrel proof, non-chill filtered, you're getting something that not only has great flavors, but is big and bold like Wild Turkey should be, with the vanillas, the caramels, the nougats, the brown sugars. But you also have enough of that nice spice and that long lingering taste. It's just a great whiskey.
Yeah, absolutely. It was my whiskey of the year last year. It won in the blind taste off, and just so amazing. And here's another one, a signed bottle of the Master's Keep One. that's a special bottle as well, and anything that dons Jimmy's signature is always going to be a collector's item. What do you think of one here?
Yeah, that's the Master's Keep series lets me do things that we normally don't do. Something unique for Wild Turkey, definitely with the finishes. Uh, for me, it's about doing it sort of what Jimmy always referred to as the right way. I've tasted a lot of the toasted barrel finishes, and they were very chewy, very woody, very one notey. Uh, with me, it's always I want to keep that bourbon flavors to the forefront because that's what we're about. You know, those vanillas and caramels and being very balanced. I think that's the biggest thing on this one that you'll notice is there's so many different great flavors in there: cinnamon, spice, vanilla, even a little butterscotchy. But they're all so balanced. None of them really stand out and smack you like some of the other toasted barrel finishes
Mm-hmm.
I've seen. So it just turned out fantastic. It's one of these men, Bruce. Bruce has been spending a lot of time in the lab with me, and we talked about this one. Usually, the last taste in the lab before it goes to the bottling house always seems to be a little bit better. It's just that process, I guess. But this one, I mean, when we tasted it after it was bottled, it seemed to be even better than what we tasted in the lab. So I was super pleased with this one.
What's interesting about this, like if you would have asked me prior to this auction going live, like what would be the highest grossing a bottle from a contemporary sense, I would have guessed the Russell's Reserve 13 year, but the Masters Keep one is beating the 13 year by almost $1,000. So the 13-year Russell's Reserve is at $1,155, and the Masters Keep one is at 1850. Now, sometimes you get two people like really in love with something, and that can impact an auction. And again, all of this money is going to help flood victims in Eastern Kentucky. You can go to kybourbonbenefit.com to do your bidding. But I just, if you would ask me in advance, I would have guessed the 13-year Russell's Reserve would be the high bottle at this stage. But
Yeah, I agree 100% because when you go on the secondary market, it's not too far off some of
yeah,
the prices you see out there. And usually the master keeps are not like that. They don't go over those huge prices. But I just think everybody was sort of surprised when, not only that we were doing this toasted finish like a lot of others have, but how different it was
hmm.
from most of them, being more of that bourbon forward flavored and very well balanced.
Well, there's a cult following for toasted, but I'd throw another reason that it might be more. It's got that signature of a fella named Jimmy on there, so that could be it as well.
That always helps.
All right, so let's take a look at some of these vintage bottles here. You're looking at the Diamond Anniversary, which I always think it kind of gets a bad rap, but a collector donated this one. I feel like this was one that in some stores you can still find it, and it's quite tasty. But right now that's kind of a value pickup at $6.25. You also have a Westport whiskey and wine. This has been highlighted as one of my best possible buys of the entire auction. It's a barrel pick from Westport Whiskey and Wine, of course, one of the co-organizers of the Kentucky Bourbon Benefit. You can go to kybourbonbenefit.com to bid on this. But right now, Eddie, you could get this for $460 if the auction were to end right now. And we both know Chris Zaborowski from Westport. That man has a great palate. I bet this is tasty.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Chris was one of the first ones that started with me in my single barrel program, and he always picked some of the best barrels out there. I mean, he used to tease me that I would take him around, let him taste 5 or 6 barrels, and then wait and give him the good one at last. But Chris has always done a fantastic job picking his single barrels. And, that old classic fantail bottle that you see there, you're not seeing them anymore. So this is sort of not only a great whiskey, but a great bottle to go along with it.
Yeah, I expect that one. If somebody gets that for under $1,000, I'll just say it. That'll be one of the real steals of this auction. Of course, we're trying to raise as much money as possible. Another bottle I flagged is one I'm personally interested in. I'm a big fan of Rare Breed, and when I see that old label there from 2010, I get pretty excited. You all donated this one, actually. Do you mean to tell me you have just about cases after cases of 2010 sitting around in wild turkey warehouses?
I did store some of that 1082 stuff, several cases of it. I mean, this just speaks of Jimmy Russell 100%. This is what he thought bourbon was supposed to be like. It was as close to straight out of the barrel as he could get it. It's big and bold up front, but then turns into so much great flavors in the mid palate and the finish. Yeah, I said some of this back. This is my sort of cognac drink. I'm going to sip on all the others, but this is that after dinner, one drink you're going to have tonight, just pour it in a glass and just savor it. So, definitely something that stuck a few cases back.
Well, I tell you, I'm going to be in on that action for that Rare Breed. I'm a big fan of that. This one might get sneaky expensive there toward the end, which we want that. All this money is going to help flood victims, but
Right.
I think there's going to be probably about 10 people who are eyeballing this one, and they're all going to try and snipe it at the end, and it'll get up there really expensive. You got another lot here, 6 signed bottles of the Russell's Reserve Rickhouse series. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's amazing that it's few as bottles. I mean, I'm lucky enough to get one myself, but this is something me and Bruce worked on. Um, Really a lot. I mean, we really started this because of our single barrel picks. A lot of people were really focusing in on how different warehouses have different flavors. So it's just a good idea. The Camp Nelson, especially F, was really hot there for a while, but this was a warehouse we had to tear down due to a big sinkhole. And we found this stuff in there, and it's in our rare division, so it's only going to hit like Florida, Texas, California, Colorado for right now. It's going to have a big retail price of 250,
Mm-hmm.
I think. But I mean, this is right up there with that 13-year-old as far as flavor profile. There's so many great fruity, caramel, vanilla, butterscotchy, spicy, super long finish that Jimmy's always been a big fan of. This is just some fantastic whiskey, and it is a very, very small batch.
Mm-hmm.
The next one won't be Warehouse C. So, the only good thing about this is there will be some in the visitor center. Uh, I hate to see the day it hits there because there tends to be a few guys here in town that knows when that's going to hit, so they're going
Yeah.
to be sort of swamped. But just a fantastic whiskey. Uh, I mean, this is another one in that top two or three or four that definitely that I've tasted a
Oh,
wild turkey.
wow. Well, and look, you talked about there's a lot of chances out there. Like if when it drops, you don't know if you'll be able to get a chance to get it at the visitor center. It's only going to be in a handful of states, and the people are, there's going to be a line for these. But there's a guaranteed way of getting these bottles. You can purchase these 6 signed bottles of Russell's Reserve Rickhouse series by being the high bidder here on the Kentucky Bourbon Benefit. Go to kybourbonbenefit.com. All proceeds are going to help the flood victims of Eastern Kentucky. Sign up and click that bid button. But I'll say, the headliner of the Wild Turkey series, you're going to see that handsome gentleman right there with the barrel thief in his hand. And we're looking at an incredible private barrel experience with you, Eddie. I've been there, I've done that, and I'm telling you, folks, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity that you will dream about for years and years after. We've tasted many barrels together, Eddie, and with your son and with your father, Jimmy, and every single time is a special experience. And I'm telling you, whoever wins this is in for a special treat. Tell us about this private barrel experience.
Yeah, when I started this single barrel program, that was my first thing was I'm going to make this very personal. I did them all for a very long time. I mean, I come in off trips from overseas and would have barrel picks the very next day. But it's spending time with people. It's talking to people, telling stories on Jimmy and Booker, and me and Fred know we've always been good friends. We don't tell stories on ourselves, but we love telling stories on our dads. Now I can even tell a few on Bruce because I know he's telling a few on me. But most likely he'll
He's
be that
Bruce
way.
is very. I will say Bruce is very respectful, very respectful about you. And in
Well, that's
fact,
good.
I think he like the conversation will go to Jimmy sometimes, and he props you up a lot. So I don't know. Bruce does you right there, Eddie.
Well, he'll probably be with us. As I've gotten a little older, it helps to have a younger guy there to rustle them barrels around. But definitely just sitting back, taking the time, telling stories, answering questions. That's something about Wild Turkey. Jimmy and I have always been is very open and telling things that you want to find out. And it's just a great experience, just like you said. It'll be a very personal thing. It won't be something you got 15 minutes and you're out the door. I
Yeah.
mean, we'll spend time with you. We'll taste some super great whiskey. I've always set back some really good barrels for this, and it's just a great experience. I know the last time we did it for the tornado, it was some people that have picked a lot of barrels, and that's wonderful too. But if it's somebody that's never done something like this is definitely a once in a lifetime chance.
So you're estimating that the barrel will yield about 120 bottles, or 26 pack cases. What's the age range here? Will you let them bottle a cash drink? Give us some details on the whiskey that they could win.
It'll be 110 proof non-chill filtered. I haven't ever talked the company into doing the barrel proof yet. They just don't seem to grasp that. But it'll be in that 8 to 10. There might even be some 11, 12-year olds in there that we might get to check out. If Bruce hasn't sold them all under my nose, but it'll definitely be in that sweet range where you find your best whiskey. Jimmy always was that 8, 9, 10-year old, but you definitely can get some older whiskey that tastes really good. But we're only picking the very best barrels that we taste as we go through thousands upon
Hmm.
thousands upon 10,000s of barrels. So you'll definitely hit some good whiskey and different taste profiles. We try to make sure, this barrel doesn't taste like the next barrel, that they all taste different depending on what you like.
And then you'll also be pulling in from different warehouses as well. It won't just be one warehouse.
Exactly. We always make sure we have 2 or 3 different warehouses to choose from. And like I said, they all have some different tasting notes. It amazes me how different they can be with this Rickhouse series. And people that's picked single barrels see that. But with this Rickhouse series, you'll see they don't taste the same from each warehouse. Could be where they're setting, how much more air they get, how much more heat or cool they get. A lot has to do with the airflow. If they're setting out by themselves, they tend to bring a lot more different flavors to them. So we'll have some great whiskey there for whoever wins that bid.
Well, and it's an exciting time too, because these are conversations, we didn't have about whiskey 20, 30 years ago. Maybe they happened in the warehouses and at the master distiller level, but it's happening now at the consumer level. People are very educated. They now know every one of your warehouses, and they have an idea of what the flavor profiles are between rick houses. So it's an exciting time for knowledge in whiskey, and there's not a better way to learn more than to pick a barrel with Eddie Russell. And the bidding right now, like the next bid will be at $27,499. Eddie, that money can rebuild someone's home. That money can buy someone a new car. It can pay for several funerals in Eastern Kentucky, and those are things that we don't necessarily like to think about it. But if you look at the damage that's being done, that's what this money's for. And so I try to tell people, don't think about this from a value proposition. Think about this as like as you would any charity. bid as high as you can. And to me, this is an experience that is definitely priceless. And yeah, I can't thank Wild Turkey enough for stepping up and donating all of this, and Eddie, you for donating your time for this amazing experience and all these bottles.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it's not only the distilleries from Kentucky and either blenders or distilleries from other states that's donated.
Yeah,
It's those consumers out there that are putting these bids in. I mean, that's taking their money and helping. Yeah, they're getting a good product, but they could get it a lot cheaper, in a different way. But they're standing up, putting out money to help these people. And that's what this whole benefit's about. Not only you and Chris and the KDA and everybody that's doing this, uh, the consumer that's spending the money, they're very important to us also.
yeah, and everyone's just their hearts are out there for Eastern Kentucky. Go to kybourbonbenefit.com. That's kybourbonbenefit.com. Take a look at all the items, but Wild Turkey really stepped up here, and you should go check all of those out. And I'm telling you, there's some value there. Like I said, don't look at this as a value proposition, but if that Westport whiskey and wine Kentucky Spirit bottle goes for under $1,000, that's a steal for
That's
real.
right.
And
Yep.
that rare breed bottle, it's going to jump because people are eyeballing that. That's a bourbon drinker's bourbon, and I know many people are watching that one.
No, that's
Um,
right.
but pull your resources together, everybody, and go hang with Eddie for the day. And if you would like me to come, I'd be more than happy to come as well. But I just would want a bottle of it, so we could donate it to a charity later on. But that's going to do it, folks. Thank you so much, Eddie, for coming on and talking about these experiences and bottles. And a big shout out to Wild Turkey, always helping Kentucky when it needs you.
Yeah, cheers to everybody, and thanks, Fred, for all you do for this. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Be safe out there, my friend.
All right.
Cheers.
Cheers.